Like if time doesn't work how we perceive it to, could the same soul be alive in two different forms at the same time? Also, could reincarnation work backwards? Like someone dies in 2023 and is reincarnated as someone in the 60s, despite it already being history to us in 2023. But maybe the events and decisions of what the 60s person did are just exactly what that soul ended up doing out of their own free will. And the history is just a record of their free will, if that makes any sense. Also, could two different souls essentially combine into one reincarnated form?
It is difficult to explain. There is a concept of an oversoul, which is like an ocean. An incarnation is like taking a drop of the ocean and placing it within a vessel/vehicle/body. How many drops are in the ocean? When we die, the drop returns to the ocean to be reabsorbed. Then a drop is taken again and placed anew. Some aspects of the drop remain, and others are separated for another experience. We are all drops in the ocean, but also the ocean in a drop.
I think I get what you're saying. When we return to the ocean, we get a bit mixed up with other drops, and when we are sent back into a vessel, we may have a few pieces of any drops we might have mixed with.
Yes, exactly. We also exchange drops during our time here, which creates a sort of bond when we return, in some ways. Think of how certain liquids types all create layers in a solution, based on density. Humans are a vessel that allows blending or merging of different densities, which then mixes them together. It allows for different types of consciousness to amalgamate, of sorts. This is also why some have such great internal struggles. It is like a rabbit and a snake living together, metaphorically, with their instincts clashing. As I said, difficult to explain. Words are less precise, which is one of the reasons we are confined to using them. Some entities speak in thought forms, which is interesting to experience.
That is very interesting. I guess these bonds could explain soulmates, and how you can meet a person but instantly feel as though you've known them forever. I've experienced this a bit with some people. Like I have a coworker that I instantly click with, and when I think about it, it's difficult to remember not knowing them, if that makes any sense. And I feel like thought forms could also be read as instinct, like knowing without learning. I had a dream once where I was crawling through this red glass tunnel. It was bright outside, so the tunnel was glowing inside. When I emerged from the other side, I was faced with a crowd of people. Nobody was saying anything, but I could feel their love for me. Suddenly there was a woman standing alongside me, and I somehow just knew that she was my other half, or whether you want to call it. I took this dream as some indication of some spiritual journey, and that on completion of that journey, I will find the love and community I seek.
According to the Dr. Michael Newton and the research among his patients under deep hypnosis published in his book Journey of Souls, there have been cases where the soul would inhabit two physical bodies at the same moment while also some part of the soul stays at home.
Could the same soul be alive in two different forms at the same time? It is possible for a highly advanced soul, such as a spiritual master, to operate more than one physical body at a time. Each physical body would know about the other physical bodies because they are all operating from the same high state of consciousness. However, only highly advanced souls have earned the right to have more than one physical body at time. The higher the state of consciousness, the more physical bodies soul can operate at one time. Could reincarnation work backwards? We can relive a past life through memories and even relive that past life with a new awareness by accessing the Akashic records, but we cannot go back into the past and change that timeline or live in another timeline. It's already done, complete and finished. Could two different souls essentially combine into one reincarnated form? Not at the same time. There are destructive entities without physical bodies that can take command over a human body for its own devious ends. Think of a robber, a thief, or a monster. The entity crowds out the original owner's soul, resulting in a fight for control of that body. That only typically occurs with someone who plays around with psychic forces.
Time isn't real, it only exists in three-dimensional reality. The Oversoul operates outside of the third dimension, which allows it to work outside the laws of time and space. There are multiple incarnations of the same Oversoul living simultaneously all the time. Think of your Oversoul as an actor and your incarnations as characters. An actor can star in a movie set in 1995 and another movie set in 2012, and both movies can come out in the same year. The actor is aware of both movies, but the characters wouldn't be aware. Like Will Smith knows he played a role in Men in Black and also in I Am Legend, but Agent J has no idea who the hell Dr. Robert Neville is. In this case, Will Smith would be the Oversoul and the characters Agent J and Dr. Robert Neville would be the incarnations.
If you read/listen to/watch a YouTube video of Andy Weir's story The Egg, it lays out exactly what my philosophy is. We are all different incarnations of the same being. Yes, you can go backwards and forwards through time as it is all part of the learning experience. We cannot pinpoint exactly when our souls began inhabiting the Homo sapiens of this world, nor do we know how long we will be doing so how far forward or backward in time we can go is a mystery only answerable once we move on from our current incarnation. I do believe that there's an order to it all, so once you reach a certain level of intelligence/enlightenment, you aren't going to come back as a serial killer or something like that. The fact that you are here asking these questions that only an advanced soul would be open enough to ask and contemplate means that you have already lived millions of lives and toiled through so much to get to where you are now. You have had horrible things happen to you and you've done horrible things to others.
The Egg isn't by Andy Weir. He copied and pasted a conversation me and Weir had in 2007 on the MySpace Religion and Philosophy forum. I posted a short version of Infinite Reincarnation and he commented on the post. I answered his questions about my view of the universe. He asked if he could write our conversation into a story, which he sent me later that day. I never heard from him after that and had no idea he took complete credit by claiming he just made it up when he most certainly did not.
I understand how frustrating that can be. What matters though is that the wisdom is being shared worldwide. I would love to discuss this more with you and expand my understanding of this philosophy. I promise you I have more integrity than Andy and would never claim someone else's thoughts and ideas as my own. Andy published it as a sci-fi story where you and I know it to be fact. I would like to teach others this truth. We could start a whole new church and free people from the fear of judgment and maybe even heal people by helping them understand that everything we experience in these lifetimes, no matter how bad some of those experiences may seem, it is all good and part of our growth and our journey towards becoming a god.
Shared to a point. The issue as an atheist is the one claiming credit for it, which is a conflict of interest. Nothing against atheism. They are a very rational people. However, one should not claim credit for a philosophy when they had no actual involvement in its creation. Worse, he trashes it. As a pantheist, I see no point in religious organizations.
Why does pantheism negate the point of organized religion? Good luck on your journey.
Organized religion only divides, pantheism is the unification of all things. The universe creates with diversity. Organized religion stifles diversity and seeks to make everyone the same.
I agree to a certain point. My intent is not to create an organized religion in the traditional sense. I'm not interested in big church buildings with the congregation paying to keep the lights on and the pastor driving an expensive car. I'm talking about teaching those that are open to learning why they are here in the physical realm, why there is no such thing as good or evil, and why they never quite feel at home in a traditional church. My church will be on the sand dunes at the beach at sunrise, or in the desert as the sky becomes filled with beautiful, bright stars that stretch from horizon to horizon. I have traveled the world and have witnessed some of the most beautiful things the eye could see. I have been to war and have seen the charred remains of a car bomber still clutching the steering wheel. I have studied many religions and, although I have heard many inspiring sermons, not one of those religions has made me feel that they understand the truth of existence.
That's what they all say, all good religious founders with good intentions. Then they die and their brat cousin takes over, and next thing you know you're reincarnated on an earth where your good intentions are being used as an excuse to do evil.
Isn't that technically what a twin flame is? I met someone recently who I swear is me, deep down. We both obviously have our differences, but the essence is so similar. I've joked to her that she's who I would have been had I made different choices in life. Thinking face, same soul, different body.
Well, the afterlife exists outside of space and time. I still think it's the place beyond the black holes, but that's just a theory of mine, so it's possible. Like one soul could inhabit a body, but when that body dies, the soul then inhabits another around the same time that it inhabited the previous. I mean, you could argue that maybe there's only one soul that has inhabited every single body, but at different times. That's something hilarious. Speaking to someone that might be your past or future life.